evening, everybody. Welcome to the Metal Lab. I am joined this week by myself, myself, and I. There's been a little bit more complications as far as scheduling is concerned. And that means there's going to be a little bit of a programming change from what I had originally planned for this week. Initially, the goal was to have, at least one or two other people on the show and then discuss the constructed team format that The Rock is using. Unfortunately, because I don't have enough heads to kind of bounce other ideas off or have a discussion about it and just let people see how the discussion would be had, I'm going to postpone that until next week. I'm actually going to have some guest hosts come in and join me for that. And you may or may not know who you are. You may or may not expect a message within the next couple days for me to figure that out. And then the next Monday is probably actually going to be a maybe as far as an episode, just because it's Canadian Thanksgiving around the corner. There goes Amber off into the sunset. So I'm not sure about how the scheduling on that's going to work. So I apologize that I'm not going to be providing the content I had initially planned for this week. That said, we do still plan on having our usual Metal Lab this week. And I'm going to start with, my week in HeroClix as we usually do. And it was a little bit more busy than most weeks. Though for me, it was a lot of watching people play HeroClix this week. I had been helping our friend Aiden out. He's been judging a lot over at the Comic Warehouse, and I helped him through the Regenesis event just to give him a chance to really get into the nitty-gritty of it and play throughout the whole event. So I let him play, and I've been judging the whole time, and I'm just glad we finally got through this event. Our event has had to be postponed multiple times. At one point, there was a Comic Warehouse anniversary event that it got postponed for, along with Worlds, along with the pre-release of X-Men Animated, along with release weekend of X-Men Animated. So as you can imagine, we had our challenges trying to get this last month of Regenesis out. Amber made the top of the heap for Team Wolverine. Mike on the show made it to the top of the heap of Team Cyclops with a commanding lead, I might add. Though he did it with Wolverine clicks like the entire time. He played nothing but yellow bases the entire time. Overall, it's another one of those events that I feel just it ran either too long or there wasn't enough in the set for the amount of time. Like 3 months felt a little bit long in the tooth because of a lot of the domination in the set. And I was only going to one event, let's be brutally honest. I was judging it too. So witnessing it, just seeing how the event kind of tended to roll out, it just didn't seem super, super exciting to me. But that said, Sunday we ran another casual day over at Dolly's in Mississauga here. It was a good old time. We actually had 8 players this time, not including Amber and Alexis, because they were not there. So we would have been 10 players if we would have had them, and we would have filled up the store. It would have been insane, and it's quite exciting to see that many players coming on a consistent basis or starting to show up at this store as we run events. So good times being had. I love watching newer players develop and seeing who can really pick up the game like really well, and who's kind of who has the love and the enjoyment of it, but might need just a little bit of extra coming out of other players. But there's a young guy, Jack, who's been playing at the store ever since we started setting it up, and he's ready to go places. Much younger player, but still he actually asked me at the end of the event, like, when are we going to be running more competitive events? And I was like, oh, you want to go, eh? So kind of excited to see how that turns out. But it was good to see all the players who came from local areas just to kind of support our little shop. This week, Star Trek Boldly Go comes out, so we'll probably go. Somebody on Facebook called Protech Clicks shared a whole bunch of figures from the set, so I'm kind of excited to go through that this week. And there are some official previews which we're going to go through. So I think that's going to be a lot of today's episode, just because we didn't really get the crew together. So let's talk about what's going to be, in my opinion, the most electrifying piece in HeroClix right now, and that's The Rock. You might know him as Dwayne The Rock Johnson in the movies. The Rock has the corporation, WWE, and celebrity keyword. His signature move is the People's Elbow, which is close, ignores characters for movement. If The Rock has one action token, move him up to 2 squares, then make a close attack, modifying attack +1. If he hits, friendly characters modify damage +1 when attacking that character this turn. So, I mean, when it comes down to it, if somebody's able to take the People's Elbow, everybody else is able to come in and beat down on this player as well. Like, if this guy's not done by the People's Elbow, the people will help. He's also got a special movement power towards the end of the dial. The last three of the last 4 clicks has it. It's the Spinebuster. It gives him Slam and Slingshot. When Rock uses Slingshot, he can use Slam at no cost instead of making a close attack. Or instead of making the close attack, rather. So, very cool ability. This could, I believe, is going to be different from the Rock and Sock Connection figure. So we have the People's Elbow on this one. We're probably going to have the Rock Bottom as the signature move on the other one, because I noticed the coup de grace is the signature move on one of the Finn Balor's, but the other Finn Balor had a different finishing move, which was not the coup de grace, which I thought was weird, but either way, the Rock's dial at 90 points is 9 clicks long. That is amazing. He's got Perplex, Invulnerable to start. He's, of course, Indomitable, like all WWE characters will be, which you're also going to see as a result of, to quickly kind of go over it, the Mixed Match Challenge, which has a rule book for the WWE-focused stuff, is not going to have rules for pushing damage because all WWE figures are going to have that bar through the defense, which is Indomitable. And that's just to clean up the rules so that players who are strictly playing with the WWE stuff really don't get overwhelmed with all the stuff that we add in the later part of the game. Then once they master this stuff, all the other stuff to learn is a little bit easier. So there's no elevated terrain rules, there's no range rules, there's no rules regarding pushing damage, there's no rules regarding line of sight. Like, all of that kind of isn't really there. But we, it is what it is. And then when you add the full rules to the game, then players who understand the WWE rules only have to learn about range, elevation, line of fire, all that kind of stuff. Anyway. But of course, he has the WWE team ability. This is just a really cool figure. Unfortunately, on the 90-point dial, he's really normal powers, especially with, I think he's got Slam and Stun up there. The 40-point dial is really appealing. It's 1 click away from a pin, which is a shame. But in the end, I think it's a really cool 40-point character. And, he's WWE. I'm never going to argue with that. All right. Next up, we enter into Star Trek Boldly Go. These are official previews. We're actually going to go over a bunch of other figures, too. So this is just one of many figures we're going to be talking about with Star Trek Boldly Go. And this is Gul Madred, Chief Interrogator. He's a titled character. He's a Cardassian. He's got Cardassian soldiers as keywords. He's 95 points. He's got the Cardassian Union team ability, which is a new team ability. At the beginning of the game, you may choose a team ability. This character modifies attacks +1 when attacking only characters with the chosen team ability. So it's kind of like a light version of the Ultimate X-Men team ability, which I believe either chose characters or team abilities when in the old days. It's a lighter version of it, but still +1 attack against a specific team ability is really great because it's not held off by anything. So hey, Power Cosmic, that's a pretty popular one right now, right, kids? And it's not uncopyable. The problem is, of course, it's if you don't start with it, I don't think you get the bonus. It's a weird one. I'll have to check on rules on that one. Either way, this is a dial that is representative of what we know as a title character. There's nothing special on the dial. It's all in the plot points. Those of you unfamiliar, look up the reference to the 4 lights in Star Trek The Next Generation. This is the character. There's this like interrogation scene with an episode where the Cardassians capture Jean-Luc Picard, and their whole interrogation is to get him to say that he sees 5 lights, and that's when they know they've broken his mind and can get all the information they need out of him. And like it's really cool episode it's probably one of the top ones for like, oh my gosh, potent, like powerful storytelling episodes, up there with Measure of a Man, which is the one where they put Data on trial, so whether or not he's a human. Anyway, Star Trekking out a little. So as a title character, at the end of your turn, the title character activated a plot ability but didn't make an attack, deal it 1 unavoidable damage. That's a standard. We should expect that now. When Gul Madred, Chief Interrogator, is KO'd for the rest of the game, when an opposing character's finalized attack roll includes a 4, modify their damage by +1. So that's the downside. It's not a terrible downside. It's 1 in 6 on each die. So like but there's 2 different dice, so it's a little bit easier to get either way. If it contains a 4, you're going to take a little bit of extra damage if Gul Madred dies, which off the first 2 clicks is a little bit more difficult than the rest of them. Anyway, no, there are 5 lights is his plot ability. Free until your next turn. When an opposing character's finalized attack roll includes a 4 after resolutions, deal that character 1 penetrating damage. So it's kind of a cute take on there's 4 lights, 5 lights thing. And he's got the transporter ability, which we've seen on others. Choose a character from your sideline with the Cardassian keyword and a starting line for that character. You may pay 1 plot point plus 1 plot point per 10 points of the character's cost to place that character on the starting line in an unoccupied square within 6 squares of the line of fire. A force may only have 1 character placed by this effect on the map at a time. Example, you would play 5 plot points for a 40 to 49 point character. So, next up. So Gul Madred, it's a title character. A lot of the Star Trek title characters seem a little bit underwhelming as far as the metagame is concerned. And this one, for me, this set is a little less on the excitement side because they already got the Borg and a lot of the really cool stuff out of the gate with Q and whatnot. I'm still going to get figures from this set because I love Star Trek The Next Generation. But it is what it is, right? Next up. Mirror Geordi LaForge. I love these mirror Next Generation characters. They're pretty cool. All right. So Mirror Geordi LaForge has Opportunistic Maneuver. Free, once per turn for all characters that can use this trait. Choose a friendly character that took 2 or more damage from a single attack since your last turn. You may place Mirror Geordi LaForge within 6 squares in line of fire of the opposing character that made the attack. You may then replace Mirror Geordi LaForge with another character that can use the Opportunistic Maneuver trait from your sideline. So like you can swap between all the other Mirrors Next Generation dudes. Advancing through the ranks, when this character is placed by a character's use of Opportunistic Maneuver till your next turn, when this character has, when an opposing character in 6 squares is given a free action after resolutions, deal that character 1 penetrating damage. So it really slows down some of those awesome abilities that we really rely on, like Outwit, Perplex, Sidestep, things we start to take for granted. Mirror Geordi LaForge is going to punish you for if he gets placed by the Opportunistic Maneuver. Mirror is his next trait. Shape Change. When Mirror Geordi LaForge uses Shape Change and succeeds, give him a mirror token, and if he fails, remove all mirror tokens. When he uses Shape Change, increase the result by +1 for each mirror token. A roll of 1 always fails. So you start to slowly but surely get better shape changes. If you get 1 shape change, 2 shape changes, which is like getting 1 shape change is the more difficult one. Getting 2 or 3 after you've gotten the 1 becomes significantly easier. Rerouting bridge controls is a special attack on all 3 of his first 3 clicks on his 100-point dial or his first click of a 75-point dial. Once per turn, when an opposing character within range would use an effect that allows it to choose a standard power or allows it to choose standard powers to use, you may make them choose again, but they choose different powers than before. So this is a really disruptive kind of character that if you're expecting to see a lot of picking of powers, you can just turn around and go, no, pick again. Especially if you don't like them. If they pick like powers that you don't feel are too non-beneficial to you or not like threatening to you, you can just let them kind of go with it. But generally, this kind of forces a bluff, no bluff situation where it's kind of like if you are up against this, you can kind of try to throw a swerve at them and go, you know what? I'm going to choose Precision Strike, and hoping that you'll be able to choose like Psychic Blast on the next choice or something, or they'll let you stick with it. You'll still get a decent, like being able to pick the right powers at the right time is really the trick to this. All right, next up. Whoop. So now we move into Protect Clicks, Hero Clicks Post. We're going to blast through these as fast as we can. So a lot of really cool figures, but and we're going to talk about, whether or not they're good, metagame, whatnot. Commander Chi Riker, he's a common. He's got the Klingon, Starfleet, and Soldier keyword. Don't forget he was traded to the Klingons for an episode. Really cool insight into Klingons in the Next Generation. He's a 50-point running shot dude. Not terrible. Not too bad. I wouldn't cry about getting it. He's going to be fun in some, more, what is the word I'm looking for? More casual games. But he's a Riker. Next is the Romulan Officer, Romulan Spy. This is figure number 2. Modulating cloaking device, special attack, smoke cloud. When Romulan Officer uses it, you may also generate an obscuring terrain marker in each square within range that's occupied by a friendly character with the Romulan keyword. At the beginning of your next turn, remove these markers. So obscuring terrain is hindering for line of fire, not for movement. And she has this on 3 clicks. All 3 clicks are for 25-point dial with enhancement. Not a bad character if you're running a very stealthy team. This could make some spy teams a little bit more possible. Though unfortunately, it is Romulan focused, so that's kind of its own thing. The Cardassian Soldier, expect these kind of generic soldiers in the front end. Cardassian and Soldier keywords, we are conducting military exercise. It would be wise if you change course immediately is this trait. When Cardassian Soldier hits an adjacent opposing single base character after resolution, you may place that character into a square adjacent to their current square. And then he's got the Cardassian Union keyword. And with the trait, he's got 2 clicks with charge. He's 30 points. It is what it is. There's a lot of common generics, as you're seeing, that kind of come from these sets. Ferengi Traders has got the Ferengi and Pirate keywords. Ooh, Pirate, there it is, guys. Ferengi Energy Whip is a special attack power, incapacitate when Ferengi Trader uses it as a close action and hits after resolutions roll d6. On a 5 or 6, deal a hit target 1 penetrating damage. And the Ferengi Alliance is shape change, but only succeeds on a 6. Romulan team ability stealth. I forgot to mention that earlier. And yeah, so the Ferengi Trader is kind of like little scrolls. There we go. He's got that thing on the first 2 clicks with Empower. He's 40 points. 40 points with this 1 in 6 chance of shape change with Empower. It's a really close combat focused character. It's neat, and it's got plasticity, which is really disruptive. Overall, kind of okay. Romulan Guards, Romulan Soldier keyword. Tame the Warrior is the trait, unique modifier. For friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Romulan keyword, modify defense by +1 against close attacks. And then it's what you see is what you get. Set of powers that ignores hindering for movement, which is super useful for Romulans because their team ability is stealth, which we saw in the previous set. 45 points, charge, incapacitate, empower. This is another really supporty kind of dude. The points seem to be going up on these guys, I noticed. Straight dialogue, toughness. Again, not breaking the game, but very fun in your Romulan teams. Klingon Warrior, the blood will tell. Free if a friendly character that's adjacent or has a Klingon keyword was attacked since your last turn, modify attack +1. That's a really cool effect. And the Klingon Empire team ability is very similar to a Brotherhood team ability. On a 10 to 12, you remove an action token after resolutions from the character. And this one has Flurry Blades with 40 points. If you can slap some TK or some carry on this guy, or TK in the later clicks with the Battle Fury, that's 40 points that could be either do nothing or be super amazing. Because Flurry Blades is a scary proposition on a 40-point character. Is this indie again? Is this indie Hero Clicks? All right, next up, the Starfleet Admiral. A generic Admiral. Starfleet and Politician keyword. You will abide by Starfleet regulations is its trait. Leadership. When Starfleet Admiral uses it and succeeds, you may instead choose one. Remove an action token from a non-adjacent friendly character and that character can't attack this turn, or give an action token to a friendly character. You can't choose a character with 2 already, and if you do, action total +1. So this is neat. This is a neat little effect on that trait, and I think that's what's going to give this character any kind of value. Give me a second. Actually, there's more value in it because I just saw some of the powers it gets on it. Let's look at this. So with this trait, it also starts with Outwit, has some probability control, and has some Perplex with Mastermind. Politicians are going to love the Starfleet Admiral. And if you can find a character who you don't plan on doing anything with for a turn that has like Indomitable or Willpower, you slap an action, or like they're going to be sitting down for a little bit, or you have like a Willpower carrying Bystander. Heck, you give a Bystander who's 0 points an action token, and just, take the loss. That's an additional action. So on a 300-point team with a Starfleet Admiral, you can simply add 2 actions to your action total by slapping an action token on a friendly character. What's more is that if that character has 0 action tokens, has willpower, there's nothing stopping a character who you've given an action token to with this power from taking an action. It's only the first half where you remove an action token from the friendly character, they can't attack. I think that's really cool. I think this Starfleet Admiral has there's a lot of real potential. If it was a little bit less in the points, maybe. It's super expensive because it's got like the best support powers in the game. If it didn't, it starts with Outwit, current environment, Outwit's not that great. So you kind of want to push it to prop. But why not give you that leadership action token to the Starfleet Admiral and push her into prop, right? There's a lot of flexibility to this character. This is a really good common. I think Popper should be looking at Starfleet and Politician, to say the least, with a character like this. So there we go. Starfleet team ability, if I remember correctly, it's just it's the Avengers team ability, or Justice League, where it's +1 move on a move action. Lieutenant Geordi LaForge, Starfleet and Scientist keywords. Ignores hindering for line of fire. Enhanced Visor is his special damage power. Free, choose an adjacent friendly character. That character can use ignores hindering until your next turn. That's really cool if you run into stealth teams. And Geordi LaForge comes in at internet lag. I think that's 35 points to give somebody ignores hindering and ignores hindering himself. Plus he has Force Blast, so if he does hit, do a little damage, do a little knockback. That could go a long way. 35 points. Geordi LaForge is actually really good for value. Lieutenant Commander Data adds to our shifting focus pool. So there's 2 other Lieutenant Commander Datas, or there's Lieutenant Commander Data and Detective Data. I don't know if they're both called Lieutenant Commander Data. Anyway, so you have this, plus the common and the super rare from the previous set. And this one is a little bit more focused on... Oh, he's 45 points. Uh-oh. Shifting focus data. Is the other one shifting focus data? I'm going to have to look into that. I feel like they might have messed this up. 5 clicks, 45 points. This is a really weird situation that we've created here in my head. It's because I haven't looked it all up. Give me a second. Webcam went on a little bit of a lag fest there. They get so much good quality out of this new webcam, but so much lag. I'm just pulling up Resistance is Futile just because I want to see. It's Lieutenant Commander Data, shifting focus data. And does this say shifting focus data? This is a weird situation I've never seen before. Shifting focus data. Huh. Another character with a trait. And he's 45 points. This is weird. I've never seen this before. Cool. Is the die? Yeah. Anyway, so this one has Outwit and flip-flops between Outwit and Prop. Now the situation, if this one is still legal with the one from the previous set, it is worth noting. Actually, I believe you still score. Ignore me. I'm on a rant and a ramble. Yeah, the other datas are 50 points. I thought that, but it doesn't specify that the shifting focus requires the same point value, right? Place them with another character with this trait on the same. Yeah, and they all have the same number of clicks. They all have 5. So I'm weirded out by this. Anyway, where you're going to use this data is for his outwit, because Sherlock data has a better prop than this one does. And I think that's ultimately the case. So this kind of just adds to your data pool. Data pool. That's tech stuff. All right. Next up, we have Toreth, Romulan and Soldier keyword. If they have a means of detecting us, they must be destroyed. Friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Romulan keyword modify attack by +2 when attacking only opposing characters that can use ignore hindering for line of fire. Wow. Which is kind of important for a team that relies on its stealth. So you get extra attack when attacking the dudes that attack you when you're in stealth. All right. So that said, the Toreth also has I have discovered traitors among us. Opposing characters can't use shape change when attacked by friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Romulan keyword. That's important. That's like a battle fury at range. It can go a long way. And she's got running shot, psychic blast at the top. Unfortunately, she doesn't have that detect the traitors early, but she does have the traded ability to shoot guys that can see through stealth. 5 clicks for 60 points. It's a squishy one. So it's really hypothetically focused on trying to make a Romulan or stealthy team work, and unfortunately, it doesn't work like other. It's not a spy keyworded Romulan, so you kind of either going Romulan or soldier with this one. Cardassian Glyn is a Cardassian and soldier keyword who I choose to spend my free time with. That's my business. When an opposing character successfully breaks away from Cardassian Glyn, after resolutions, roll a d6. Sorry, I'm just in case something scary happens. After an opposing character successfully breaks away from Cardassian Glyn, roll a d6. On a 5 to 6, deal that character 1 penetrating damage. All right, next up, and this is what the dial that comes with that. It is what it is. They're gonna break away. They're gonna deal penetrating damage, but are they really gonna want to break away from this 40-point character? I don't think it's really a massive threat. You got to find a way to force a breakaway requirement somehow from this character. Ferengi salvage crew. According to the Ferengi rule of acquisition, we declare this ship to be a loss. During game setup, you may choose one. Place one of your opponent's objects, or generate a standard light object in any square on the map, not in a starting area. So you might get an extra light object out of it. You will cooperate with our salvage operation. This is a special damage power. Opposing equipment objects have equip any and unequip drop instead. When a friendly character that's adjacent or has the Ferengi keyword hits an opposing character that's equipped, after resolutions, the hit character unequips their equipment. And it has a Ferengi keyword. This is a very specific hate. In Magic, we call them hate bears. It's going to be a low-cost 550-point character who's really focused on messing with opponent equipment. And, the equip-friendly removal, like the fact that there is some equipment that's equip-only friendly, but for the most part, equip any. It's cool, but I don't think it's going to make the massive splash we want it to. If you're really worried about opposing equipment and you have a way to get to it that's not collector somehow, sure. But otherwise, it's just kind of an okay dude. Again, casual focused to kind of hate on those people who bring equipment. Aladar Jarak, Romulan Starfleet soldier spy. Trait Defector. If Aladar Jarak is part of a Starfleet team, friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Starfleet keyword can use Ignore Hindering and Modify Defense +1 against attacks from characters with the Romulan keyword. Or Spy. If Aladar Jarak is part of a Romulan themed team, he can use Telekinesis as free, but only to place opposing characters. So, and then he's got both the Romulan and Starfleet team ability. What are we looking at for points on this guy? Because he seems pretty neat. 60 points. Flexible on 2 different teams. Very specific, though, because it's one of those, like, in-set specific things where he's going to be... Well, I mean, the fact that he gives Starfleet teams ignores hindering goes a long way. Could work in the Pauper States format. There are some really stealth-focused teams this guy could be a nightmare for if you built a Starfleet team with him. And free TK to mess with your opponent's characters. There's a lot of poison potential in the popper format. So, yeah, could go. Alright. Next up, Kern. Kill him. It's the Klingon way. Klingon, Starfleet, and Warrior keywords. I think this is a character that was introduced after the Klingon Starfleet peace treaty. When a friendly character that's adjacent or has a Klingon keywords damages an opposing character with an attack, after resolutions, deal that character 1 penetrating damage. If that character is not KO'd, immediately heal it 1 click. So this is like Death from the Undead set, where you hit and you just check. Are you at your last click after this? And if they're not KO'd, you can heal them. So it's a very cool effect. And it comes on a whoop. All right, I guess we don't get the dial on Kern, which is a shame. Dr. Beverly Truck. I would love to see the dial on the points on Kern. So if anybody's got that, let me know and I'll link. Next up, Dr. Beverly Crusher. This is still in the uncommons. Starfleet and Scientist. I'm not going to leave and let you die. At the beginning of your turn, Dr. Beverly Crusher can use support at no cost, but only to target a character damaged by an opponent's attack since your last turn. So it's really a good way to just quickly go, okay, you took damage, let's undo that. We'll see what yeah, we're going to get a look at her stats. Okay, cool. Head of Starfleet Medical, which gives her leadership and support. When Dr. Beverly Crusher or an adjacent friendly character uses support, apply -1 instead of -2 to the D6 result. So if you get a 3 or lower instead of a 4 or lower, you're getting 2 healing, which is really cool. It's not a great dial, but for 35 points, this could be your leader. I think this is a better leadership character than Picard is on a Starfleet Scientist Popper team. I said it. Miles O'Brien is, yeah. So like it's a very unassuming dial, but it's got support across the entire thing when you think about it, because she's got leadership and support. She's got no cost support at the beginning of the turn, and then you can use support after the fact depending on how much damage the guy took. This is a Popper Starfleet Scientist maker, I think, or at least enabler. Although a lot of Starfleet guys are super squishy now that I think about it. Anyway, Miles O'Brien, Starfleet Scientist Soldier, get them out of there, O'Brien. Now, if Miles O'Brien has 0 or 1 action tokens, friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Starfleet keyword can use super senses. When a character uses super senses and succeeds, give Miles O'Brien an action token and place that character adjacent to Miles O'Brien. That's kind of cool. It's a neat kind of get out of, oh my god, they almost died. And I hope he has some willpower to go. Okay, he's got 3 clicks of willpower to start that off. He's got TK because he's the guy who works on the transporter. Yeah, I mean, and Miles O'Brien always kind of gets him out of trouble in a pinch. So, yeah, I like him. All right, we got the title version of Captain Jean-Luc Picard, USS Enterprise. Starfleet and politician keywords. And it is as you expect, what you see is what you get dial. There's the inside of the card. All right, so let's take a look at this. 85 points, you get 8 clicks, not bad. Steal energy late, regeneration in there even. Starfleet keyword, indomitable, 6 range, pretty okay. Picard, and this is in the rare slot, so we're out of Popper territory. You've got your standard limitation. When Jean-Luc Picard USS Enterprise is KO'd, friendly characters can't make attacks on your next turn. That hurts. Like, if you've ever been Fausted and not been allowed to make an attack, you'll realize how much that hurts. On my command is his +1 plot ability. Free, choose one, move, or close, or range. Actions of the chosen type given to friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Starfleet keyword don't count against your action total this turn. Borg Queen, we've seen this. And then Transporter, which we saw on the Cardassian, whose name I forgot already. All right, next up we have Sela. This is the Tasha Yar look-alike Romulan, I think. Romulan spy keyword, allied with the House of Duras. +5 points. During force construction, characters with the Klingon keyword gain the Romulan keyword, and characters with the Romulan keyword gain the Klingon keyword. Play on their sentiment is a trait, shape change. When a friendly character that's adjacent or has the Romulan keyword is damaged by an opponent's attack, after resolutions, you may place the attacker into a square adjacent to the one it occupies. Weaken your alliances is a special leadership damage power. Leadership, when Sela uses it and succeeds, you may instead choose the opponent that opponents can't use theme team prob until your next turn. That's something new. A 65-point dial with that. That's some. I just wish there was more coming out of the 65-point dial for the metagame, man, because this is a really cool way of just messing with your opponents. All right. Now we have Deanna Troi dressed as a Romulan. Romulan Starfleet spy keywords. Ignores hindering for line of fire. Major recall of the Tal Shiar. Shape change when friendly characters adjacent or has Romulan or Starfleet keyword is damaged by an opponent's attack. Choose an opposing character adjacent to the attacker. After resolutions, deal the chosen character 1 penetrating damage. Special movement power, underground faction of rebels. Mind control, when Deanna Troi uses it, hit targets can use ignore characters. You know, this is one of those things I always run into with mind control is they always seem to be next to their buddies. They're always adjacent to characters that are friendly to them before I mind control them, which makes them opposing the second I mind control them. This is really cool as a part of a mind control that is on a 4-click dial with 45 points with Prime. Not a bad Prime. Romulan Starfleet Spy works on Starfleet is a great team. Spy is coming. And it just kind of holds together a Romulan Starfleet or Spy team. I like it. It's neat. I wish there was some kind of move or sidestep that came with that. But you can work with that. There's a lot of TK that you can work with. So go from there. All right, next up, Gul Lamek. Cardassian soldier spy keywords. Leave this territory or be destroyed. Friendly characters that are adjacent or have the Cardassian keyword modify attack +1 when attacking only opposing characters that are closer to your starting area than their own. So kind of a counterattack to, assuming you survive a Wolverine or Cyclops onslaught. Special attack power. We have all the evidence we need to have We have all the evidence we need. We have Captain Picard. Sorry about that. Telekinesis. Telekinesis is free, but only to target an opposing character, which we saw in the Romulan character. 65 points. This style. Nothing really to sing home about. Cool. These characters are all really cool in their own set. And I think that's something that's important to mention. Is like Star Trek games are going to be fun with some of these guys. All right, next up, Damon Tar. We seek Ferengi and Pirate. I think all the Ferengi seem to have Ferengi and Pirate keywords that we've seen so far. We seek only what is equitable. When an opposing character uses an effect that allows it to choose a power to use, you may roll a d6. On a 5 to 6, choose a friendly character as adjacent or has a Ferengi keyword. That character can use the chosen powers until the end of your next turn. So it's like on a 5 or 6, anything you can do, I can do too. Or at least somebody next to him. And he's got a special damage power that gives him enhancement and outwit on a 60-point character. Man, we've really kind of ruined our taste in this game as far as like what 60 points can be expected to do in this game. You know what I mean? It's so hard to see like this on 60 points. It's like, we've got so many things at 50 points that are 1,000 times better than this, which hurts. It hurts to look at because this is a really cool character. Although I think power choosing is like gone down recently. Like there's not as many ways that it happens, but yeah. All right, next up, Tomalak. Romulan ruler and soldier keyword. I look forward to our next meeting, Captain, is his trait. Leadership. When Tomalak would be KO'd, instead turn to click number 3. For the rest of the game, he can't use his trait, Protect the Pulse Wave. So he has leadership, and then if you KO him, he comes back to life and doesn't have leadership. On a 70-point dial with 5 clicks, and click number 3 is willpower and outwit. So effectively, he's kind of an 8-click dial for 70 points. If you kind of notice that. So, neat, to say the least. All right, we have Duras. Klingon, Romulan, and Warrior keyword. Dishonorable Tactics is his trait. Perplex, but only to target opposing characters. When he uses Perplex, choose a keyword on the target. Unique modifier. Until your next turn, other opposing characters with the chosen keyword also modify the chosen combat value -1. Oh, that's really good. 80 points. Oh, man. That's a special damage power. It's not a trait. He has that on his first 3 clicks. Because full team Perplex, like Perplex down, is super potent, especially when this doesn't limit on damage. So I can perplex down one character's damage, and if it's a theme team, I choose that theme that you have and subtract your all your damages by 1. And that's really cool. So, I want to make Duras work now. Apologize for the silencer. Dr. Catherine Pulaski. Starfleet and Scientist keyword. She's a rare technique for wiping memory engrams. Power. Choose an adjacent character. Until your next turn, that character is protected at wit, opposing perplex. So it's protected at wit and opposing perplex. She may activate this power as free instead, but only to choose a character she shares a keyword with. So Scientist keyword teams can suddenly get protected at wit or opposing perplex as free from Dr. Catherine Pulaski. And the Scientist is a team I've run, so that's not too bad. And she's got support with a 16 defense with Defend, which makes it easy with her 10 attack, easier to heal a lot of really high defense guys. I like Pulaski. I like her a lot. I don't think she's going to break things, but she's something of an include in a Scientist team, I think. All right, and Lieutenant Worf, shifting focused Worf. Did they do the same thing? Are the other Worfs 60 points too? I really hope that 145 point dude is just an oversight. Okay, the other Worf, one of the other Worfs seems to be 60 points, so this seems to be sticking. Shifting, so he's a shifting focused Worf. My father's Batleth. Blades Claw's Fangs. When Lieutenant Worf uses it for the D6 roll, you may instead roll 2d6 and keep 1 as a result. If the result of both dice match after resolution, you may either heal Lieutenant Worf 1 click or remove an action token from Lieutenant Worf. That's pretty cool. Indomitable. I think there's going to be a little bit more close combat focused with the Batleth. But 12 attack off the top, that's cool. I like it. I'm not going to complain about it. I think it's with a built-in light prob on the blades. That's pretty neat. So, yeah. All right, next up, Armus. Brute, Cosmic, and Monster keywords. It seems to feed on our phaser energy as the trait. Steal energy. When Armus is damaged by a range attack after resolutions, heal Armus 1 attack. He ignores elevated and hindering for movement purposes. He was left here. Abandoned. Plasticity and sidestep. This is a special move of power. At the end of your turn, if Armus is not within 4 squares of another character, deal Armus 1 unavoidable damage. If you do, you may then place him exactly 4 squares away from any other character. So he just kind of follows. This creature is filled with rage. When he confronts it, his guard goes down. This is a special defense power. Invincible. If Armus can use Battle Fury, modified his defense by +1, and this power has protected outwit. Okay, well, he's always got Battle Fury. He's not protected outwit, though, so... I mean, but the defense power is protected outwit, so the Battle Fury... You have to use 2 outwits to get the defense. What else do we have here? If Armus is not within 4 squares of another character, deal him 1 unavoidable damage. Oh, man, I want to like this character so much more than I do. The points are so high. The defense is so low. Oh, and he could still take like 3 damage at a time if you do get to the 5 damage against the Invincible. He doesn't have the special movement power until late in the dial, so he doesn't have sidestep or the move within 4 squares of guys. But if you shoot him, he kind of heals, so you like... Alright, I'm going to say I like it. The team that makes him work is not obvious. And I'm not against making a trial run at it. So, that's my call on it. The Gul Madred we looked at earlier. Damon Bach. Ferengi Pirate keyword. Thoughtmaker is a special movement power. This is a super rare or chase? I'm going to say super rare. Yes. Stealth and Mind Control. When Damon Bach uses Mind Control, modify range +3, and he can use Ignores Elevated, characters and hindering. So only blocking terrain blocks them, which is weird because I'd consider the outside of a ship blocking terrain and use that ship to ship. Anyway, collecting on an old debt. Incapacitate. When Damon Bach uses it, after resolutions, give the hit character a debt token. Characters modify attack, defense, and defense by -1 for each debt token they have, only as long as he can use this power. Special defense power, haven't been sleeping well. Mastermind, willpower. Opposing characters within range can't use willpower, and that's a range of 65 points. He's okay. I'm not bad with it. I'm not turned off by it. He's not super strong. He's going to be using that mastermind a lot, and it's not protected outwit, so Star Trek games, he's going to be great. Professor Moriarty. Holodeck Past and Scientist keyword. Holodeck Safety Protocols. This is special. I wonder if this is going to be like the error tokens. At the beginning of the game, give Moriarty 3 safety protocol tokens. While he has a safety protocol token, opposing characters take a maximum of 1 damage from his attacks. It's only a one-way version of the error tokens. When Professor Moriarty uses Outwit, after resolutions, remove a safety protocol token. Okay, well, that's a pretty easy way to get rid of it. Special damage power, overriding command controls, Outwit, and Perplex when Professor Moriarty uses either to target an opposing character. Until your next turn, the target can't use team abilities, and Professor Moriarty can use any team abilities the target can't use through this effect. Ooh! Ooh! This is kind of like an affordable Thanos. With the past scientist and holodeck keyword. Huh. Sorry, this is a cold read. I don't know if you caught on to that. So I'm just kind of going off of this. This is the first time I'm even looking at these. And I kind of think at 50 points on a scientist team... Sorry, I apologize for the flashing back and forth. I want to say there's a lot of potential Moriarty on a scientist theme team in the competitive game. It's a shame he doesn't have robot, but robot, he's not a robot. He's a hologram, hence the holodeck keyword. But if there's a past or scientist team, they now have access to a Thanos-like power. And what's more is Moriarty gains the team ability as a result. So if I perplex down, let's say you have a collector as my example. I outwit I perplex down your defense. So now you can't use any team abilities. Now I can use Power Cosmic, but I can also outwit your special defense power, your defense, which I believe is like impervious or invulnerable or whatever on the first click on the collector. This is just a specific example. So now I'm able to... I like Moriarty. Moriarty's probably one of my high wants for this set, for sure. There's a lot of potential with this character, I think. So, yeah, he's probably going to see a place. We talked about Mirror Dirty the Forge already. Mirror Jean-Luc Picard. He's got the opportunistic maneuver trait, so it's very similar to what we saw in the other guy. But his advancing through the ranks is when a character is placed... when this character is placed by a character's use of opportunistic maneuver trait, until your next turn, this character has opposing characters within 6 squares. Can't use leadership, mastermind, or perplex. Then he's got mirror. There we go. So yeah, I mean, ultimately it's outwit the defense power, I think. Sorry, I guess there's a time delay on the chat. Mirror. To enslave new life and new civilizations is a special damage power. Leadership. When Jean-Luc Picard uses it, if there is no D6 on this card, you may place the D6 result on this card. If there is no D6 on this card, you may place the result. Okay, so you roll leadership with Picard, and whatever the result is, you put it on the card if there isn't one on the card. Then, when a character within range rolls an attack roll or rolls for Blades, Claws, Fangs, or leadership, you may remove the... Oh my god. This is probably one of the more usable versions of these guys. It's just... I like him. I like him. I just don't see his place in competitive just yet. Oh, I love this guy a lot. Oh, he's so cool. So cool. Sorry, I got caught in thinking about what I would do with him in my own little world. So I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. All right. So that said, that's the previews for today. There was a lot to take in. So Star Trek Bold to Go looks like it skews on the high side as far as competitive usability. Like the super rare, the super rare Moriarty is probably the high point of the set, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I like the Picard, just because Picard has no extra kind of. He's got a function to the form of his hold a die, which is super super cool. So yeah, just in general, I'm a-okay with Picard as he is, with the Mirror Picard, and I'm a-okay with Moriarty. Everything else, like the skew low stuff, I think there's some popper stuff. So yeah, overall, very cool set. Looking forward to playing some fun games with it. Looking forward to adding Moriarty to my scientist collective, and see where it goes from there. So yeah. All right. That said, that was a lot to take in today. So we're going to take a second to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. Appreciate all the support that you guys help us out with, and it goes a long way towards getting things better. Speaking of getting things better, we have recently filmed some content. This is the next game that we've just recently filmed is going to be a test of my editing skills, because Amber doesn't quite have the time that I have to edit a lot of stuff. We're going to try to get our recorded content edited by myself. But because Amber has been doing it the entire time, there's going to be some growing pains because I'm new to it. I'm like, Amber has done a billion things, and it's kind of second nature to her, where with me, it's just kind of like, okay, Amber, what do we have set up, and what do we have? So I'm going to bother her a little, but I'm going to do my best to kind of work our way through that. So great, thanks to the patrons who help us provide us with that beautiful editing software that I'm now going to be learning to use, so that we can get some cool stuff like games back on the channel ever so often. We're going to bring back Dial It Up in some kind of new format to a degree, and teach Amber the metagame is going to be a thing we're going to be working on to get Amber both get Amber competitive again. And to kind of teach everybody else who might be faltered or have stumbled through changes in the game and just are having a little bit of trouble keeping up. So we'll go piece by piece, a little bit by little bit as we go through that. That said, I'm going to open up questions now, and I just realized that I have not had Discord open at all, so I apologize, Discord guys, if you've got a bunch of stuff on that. Troll the Metal Lab. Look at that. That is active. Toreth kicks Kryptonian butt. I guess. Okay. Yeah, so nothing up out in there. We're going to check on if you have any questions you're watching live. Putting capital letters in front of your question, the word question, so that I can see it, because you guys have been chatty today, and it makes it a little bit more difficult to find your questions when I'm doing that. So any little bit helps me, but I will look through and see what we have. All right. Well, the first question we have comes from Michael Fedor, our alpha patron. Speaking of our patrons, give me a second to do this, and then do that. I hate the lag I get on this camera. And his question is the Rogue in the animated set better or worse than the Rogue in the X-Men Regenesis set and the semi-recent Ellie? I believe that's the con exclusive as Guardian Rogue he's referring to. I know the Rogue in X-Men Animated. Sorry, guys, again. Oof. The Rogue in X-Men Animated is a really solid, like, out of the gates. Here's what I'm going to say is, I'm going to skew this by saying, as characters themselves, I believe, like, the the WKO prize one has got like the most kind of longevity and most effect on the game just because she has range. The common rogue from X-Men Animated is a really solid call-in card, ID card. For 60 points as a call-in, isn't difficult to call in. Comes out with 11 attack with 4 damage. And I'm going to compare that to Regenesis Rogue, who is a rare, oddly enough. Is either 90 or 60 points. The 60 points is also 11 attack, has Quake and 3... Okay, so... they're both really good as ID card call-ins. One brings Quake, the other brings 4 damage. What do you need in this situation is kind of what you have to look at. So, just overall, like, because 4 is more than 3, I can say that the 60-point rogue is probably a little bit more reliable. Or, sorry... The common rogue from X-Men Animated has more kind of outward, obvious usefulness because a lot of damage is really good. But Quake can turn into 4 or 5 damage with a 3 damage if you pick the right target and the right map. So go as you choose in that case. It's really, I mean, it's really hard to just kind of say, yeah, definitely do that. But so... make a choice as you will, but if you're putting it on the map, I believe the Asgardian Rogue is probably just like the most fundamentally, because the game works the way it does, good. Because range is better than close combat because all games start at range. Like just universally, it's kind of a mathematical definite, I believe. It's not to say that you are a useless character if you don't have range, but because range isn't as poorly affected, say, by things like... Is this the right one? This is the right one, yeah. Because range... If you are a ranged character with the same stats in close combat, you're going to be just as effective. So that said, I believe the 100-point rogue, 100-point version of the prize rogue is probably going to be the most obviously effective, just because of hypersonic and combined with range. Yeah, so. But both are good. All three are really good in their own unique ways. So, if I was to say which is best, Prize Rogue, or the WKO Prize Rogue. But as far as an ID card call-in, I'd think either Regenesis or X-Men Animated is a viable option. I believe that actually wraps it up for questions on Facebook. It's not been too busy on social media today. So in the chat, Creative License, in your opinion, what is the best way to build or rebuild a HeroClix community? So it's kind of a multi-step process. Step 1 is to find a store willing to host the event. That's step 1. Step 2 is to foster a community in a friendly way. And now, if I was to use the example we're using with Dollies, our goal right now is strictly to run casual games, which will be friendly for new players, and so older players have a new venue to play, because there's nothing wrong with more venues to play HeroClix in. We're also not charging anything. We don't really have pricing. I've kind of provided a lot of my extra Mandarin rings and stuff like that to kind of help, hey, thanks for coming. And this week something happened on the win and the time got changed on my event. And as a result, I had to go in. I showed up and some guys have been the event said that it started at 1:15. So that was my bad. I gave them a little extra for that too. So that kind of thing occurs. Anyway. So I'm starting with casual play before we move into competitive play, but I will also plan on warning players, hey, we're going to be planning on doing this and whatnot. The most important thing is to foster fun and foster a friendly environment in whatever way you can. I know locally we may have had some stores that, some players that have gone to events and kind of had their own issues with players playing a little bit more hardcore. You as a judge, if you're the one part of it is on the judge, and the judge has to kind of turn around and say, all right, so we're going to have this event, and I'm going to make sure that this event is run in a way that doesn't allow those characters to show up. There are formats that exist that can really be new player friendly and older friendly, player unfriendly, such as the Pauper or Everyman formats. So either or could potentially help. But ultimately, it's about fostering friendly play and rewarding good sportsmanship in your community. And then, when it comes to players playing more competitively, just kind of, you can't really tell them. The game is so free form. You can't tell a player not to play. But you do have to kind of turn to the other players and find a way to keep them happy to a certain degree. Some stores, what they like to do is they like to actually charge an entry fee of a pack and not necessarily have prizes all the time. Give me a second. Because all you end up kept walking out with is that pack that you didn't have when you started with and some games. And that's the thing. It's like if you want an event to be fun and strictly fun, you kind of have to take the prizing out of the situation. That's what I've done to foster a competitive or a casual community to eventually turn around and say, okay, look, guys, this particular Sunday, we do have a prize on the line, and we're going to turn it up a notch for the games, so be ready to play. And you just got to make sure players know the environment they're walking into on every tournament. And a lot of the time, prizes help define that. The monthly OP kits, some players want them more than others, and they're really hard. It's really hard to tell a player who wants an OP kit to dial down their teams. That's not necessarily the thing. But if you do want to turn a turnout for an event like that, you've got to dial down the format then and force players to not be able to play the super high-end expensive stuff. So I think that's the best way to kind of make sure. So I say all these very specific things. A lot of it is communication and being clear with the expectations of the players. I think that's the best way to do it. And of course, like I said, find a venue, make sure the venue's kind of cool because we're freeloaders, us HeroClix players. If there's no product, we don't really buy. And if the product is, as there's longer space between sets, we stop tending to buy things, or we buy all so much up front. And it's really hard to foster like a sealed battle royale sort of format. And that's what stores really want to be, it's moving the product. So it's a hard relationship to have with the stores. And one of the things I've done with Dollies is made sure to tell them, like, look, your job is to make sure we have tables. And my job is to run the tournaments. And then every so often you guys got to have product. And people got to talk to you about buying that product. So that's kind of the situation we have with the community I'm building right now. I hope that helps you, Creative License, get to where you're going. All right. Harry Gatang wants us to cover more Pauper and top 10 topics. Pauper, the Pauper format, the HeroClix Pauper format, I have been covering on Into the Mind of Madness because it is a format being used for states. So, keep your eyes open for that. The top 10 lists, on the other hand, are hard because they are scripted content. And do you know what's hard about scripted content? Reading the script. I am bad at that. I am super good at off-the-cuff talking. But you catch me on a script, I'm going to screw it up. Hi, Amber.
Hello.
How you doing? Good night, Amber.
They're also very, very intense on editing.
They are not easy to edit, yeah.
You edit second by second.
Oh, I don't. And now I'm going to be taking over the editing. And I like to play video games too, guys. So we'll see. The top 10s are hard. I'll work on it. We'll see what we can do with that. Okay. No promises yet. Maybe we'll make that a Patreon goal. All right. Question. Ricky Yell wants to know. Rick Yell. Sorry, that Y just throws me off. Rick Yell wants to know. What was the best wrestling this week? MLW, New Japan, WWE, Hell in a Impact, or AEW? Well, I can tell you it wasn't Hell in a Cell. Actually, Hell in a Cell was good except for the end, and the end left such a bad taste. That I love how every so often this turns into a wrestling review show. It left such a bad taste in my mouth, and none of it made sense, and it's all really just, it needs to, like, they need to not only apologize, they need to fix what they did, because it was bad. Impact, I like Impact. Don't get me wrong. AEW was cool off the get go. I didn't catch New Japan this week, so my bad. Um, WWE had cool moments. In I think the moment I had the biggest problem with was Cain Velasquez's run-in. It's not that I don't want Cain Velasquez to be in WWE. I've seen his work in AAA. I wanted him to pull a Hurricanrana on Brock Lesnar and not just a regular, hey, I'm an MMA fighter. I'm going to spear or I'm going to double leg takedown and throw some punches. Uh, yes, the crowd was chanting AEW at the end of Hell in the Cell. It was bad, and they really messed up super bad. And what's worse is they took the good faith away of what was really a good pay-per-view. Like every match leading up to the last match was just banging. And some people rolled their eyes at Braun Strowman coming out with the Viking Experience, but that's my kind of big hoss team. I love the Viking. I still call them War Machine. Come at me, bro. I love War Machine. I've loved them since their New Japan days. I loved one of the best matches I've ever seen was War Machine versus Ricochet and Helico in WCPW, What Culture Pro Wrestling. So go back and watch that. All right. Creative License wants to know, where can I find those four? So, yeah, long and short of it, I liked AEW the most. But that's because I didn't watch MLW or New Japan. Impact has been doing really well, even though it's kind of a shell of itself. And I kind of want to figure out what's going on with the Killer Cross situation because that seems pretty bad right now. Grid wants to know where you can find those 4-player Battle Royale maps. Yeah, the gamer maps guys that make it for The Rock, they have their own versions of it. But as far as the WizKids ones, you'd have to get really chummy with the local stores that run WKOs. And if you're really chummy with them, sometimes one of them slips into your collection. So, but yeah, I mean, they've been really exclusive to WKOs and conventions. So they're not. But that said, do take a good look at the Regenesis maps because they are set up for battle royales. They actually have the line you fold on and the 4 starting areas for that. So if you played in Regenesis, or you know somewhere where you can get new Regenesis maps from, they have those extra starting areas for running battle royales. So maybe that's a possible option if you're into that. So, all right. That said, one more last pick. And Lucas Van Hollen wants to know if I am going to Rocktober. I am not. They do ship internationally. I have personally ordered stuff from The Rock. Like I got the dungeon map from The Rock, and it came to my place. It costs a little bit extra in shipping, but not like gross amounts. Do prepare yourself for the possibility of custom fees. It's a random thing. It's not their fault most of the time. I am not going to Rocktober, unfortunately. It was that and Origins were the events that had to suffer for our bad winter, where we had 3 snow days, and it kind of sent me through a loop. So I had to take three just to kind of explain what happened with my year's schedule. So at my job, I got extra time off, but I also took 5 days at the beginning of the year. Like the post New Year's week. I don't know why I did it. I feel dumb for having done it. In hindsight, I won't do it again. I'm definitely not doing it next year. And I just it kind of screwed up all of my days off. So I had 18 total days off with which to work, and unfortunately, I have 2 left now, and I haven't booked any Christmas time yet, so I kind of want to get Christmas Eve and New Year's Eve off, assuming none of our kids get sick, because unfortunately as well, the way that Amber's job works is that she works at like 6 in the morning. So she's already gone by the time I find out one of our kids is sick and can't go to school, which is brutal. So, unfortunately, Jay is going to be the only one I think that's going up from the Metal Lab / Married with Clicks team. Unless Tom tells us he's not going places and then shows up places. So believe nothing he says. Though he's on a rehearsal thing until November, he says. So Maybe Tom shows up, maybe he doesn't, but I wouldn't count on it. And Jay's going up to judge, is my understanding. He's the head rock judge, so that's what he's doing up there. So yeah, no, unfortunately, I can't make it. Next year, I'm going to do my best to make more events, but my dad has been bothering me to go on a hunting trip with him for a while now, so maybe I'm going to do that with him as well next year. We'll see what I can get done. This year was a poor management of my days off, and next year I'm going to do a little bit better and do my best to make whatever Rocktober type event we have, and go from there. And yeah, well, I mean, Emily's probably going to try, but Emily unfortunately has been on a layoff for a little bit from her job because they're renovating where she is, and she's going to be going back to work very soon, or is already back at work. I'm not sure which. So I don't know if she can make that one because she's been at it for so long. There is a chance that I go to an event in Chicago. Everybody was talking about for a little bit, unless I already missed it. I'm really bad with managing the schedule that far ahead. But part of that is being able to manage the plane ticket there and back and accommodations. And I know me and Emily are going to try to tag team that one. Go in, get out fast as I can. We'll see. I can't promise anything with the way my schedule works right now and the way my life is, and it's a rough year for me. So I apologize that I cannot be in person at Rocktober. Though I do feel like if I was at Rocktober, I would probably be announcing or something like that. I'm not sure. All right, Ethan Beck. Best time to buy the X-Men animated Colossal. The Sentinel's like $10, and a lot of the lesser ones still cost a bit. I got bad news about the Sentinels. Some guys are, some people are hoarding them, and so they've accumulated a few. So, and I have managed to bring out almost all of those in a single game at one point. So guys are getting a lot of Sentinels. They're not going to go down in price. In fact, they're only going to go up in price, unfortunately. So with the little, if you're looking for those 00, I think there's giant figure 2. Yeah, figure number 2 Sentinels. Start accumulating faster than you can because they're going to be in high demand for a while. Even just casual players want to play Bastions or the Bolivar Trasks, and they're just going to... I mean, they're not meta play. This is a accumulation on casual play. It's the same with the Wendigos. The Wendigos are getting like picked up by the 10s. I have 2. I think I'm okay with that. I don't see myself playing the Wendigo team myself, but them's the breaks. So yeah, the best... It's a hard market to watch. If you bought them in pre-release, you paid the price you paid for pre-release. If you're looking to get like the higher rarity stuff, I think I saw Colossus go down in price like recently, but I might be wrong. And I know the Storm went from like the $200 range to the $90 range, which is a little bit more of an easy pill to swallow. So yeah. Play it by ear. And I'll let you know whenever I figure out how to stop this whole lag thing on my mic. All right. So that said, guys, thank you very much for watching live. Thank you for watching in the archives. We actually ran a little longer than we did last time, which is cool. There was a lot more to talk about. There was almost a whole set to talk about, and you'll once again only get one opinion. But I do want to take a second once again to thank our patrons over at patreon.com/marriedwithclicks. If you want to join in on that, any valuation helps us a little bit. $10 plus patrons, we are getting your action tokens out to you soon. They're around here somewhere. They're right here. So we have them. We're going to mail them to you soon. And yeah, $5 patrons expect to start getting those announcements about joining our shows again soon. I've been laxing on that, and I apologize. And we're going to look for something else for the $5 patrons because that doesn't seem to be working out so well. In the meantime, Thank you guys for watching live and in the archives. And thanks to our longtime sponsors over at MajesticCCG.com. Check out the Apex Insiders. $3 a month gets you access to some really cool thinkers in the game of HeroClix, as well as some really crazy ones, and some off the wall ideas come from some great players, champions contribute to the site, and weirdos who have internet TV shows have been requested at times too. So internet TV shows, internet podcasts, I guess, YouTubers have been have shared their crazy ideas. So in the meantime, guys, thank you for watching live. Thank you for watching in the archives. And remember, guys, if you're getting into October, get those games in. Get some practice, because practice will make your team better. Have a good night, everybody.